Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Message. Peachtree Corners, Georgia, the peachiest place on the planet. And before I get started, I'm going to get into the shout outs. The Grow Live Nation, emerging sales winners, the diehards, the mega minds. Welcome to Peachtree Corners, Georgia, the peachiest place on the planet. This is Mark's Message, and I am very excited tonight. We have a gentleman with us here, Mr. Randy Chaffee, who claims to be an old school warrior. And I'm not talking about the Road Warriors back in the WWE days or the Legion of Doom. They started out 1983 to 2014. But let me just give you a quick bio and we'll bring in our guest. He's the owner, CEO of Source One Marketing. And he puts down here, I'm going to read this to you. Dates employed, July 1985 to the present. That's like 35 years and 3 months. And this is pretty cool what Randy states about himself. I'm an independent manufacturer's representative specializing in sales for the post frame and metal frame building industry. I represent steel roofing for the agricultural, commercial, and residential markets. My customer base includes metal roofing rolling formers, metal roofing sales companies, lumber yards, roofing and building materials. And he goes on to say who he represents. And they represent several top manufacturers in the post frame, metal frame building industry, residential steel roofing, and steep slope roofing industry, and partnering with Source One. Now, this is kind of cool, and I'll stop and we'll bring him on. The belief at Source One, according to Randy, is Source One Marketing LLC is that all lasting relationships are built on the concept of a win-win scenario. We connect innovative building products with the building professionals who depend on them. We are in a unique position to serve both manufacturer and you, our customer. So what he's offering there is strategies, creativity. And with all that said, I'm going to bring on the man himself, and we're going to get to know what Randy's all about here. And here we go.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
Where are you at tonight?
I'm actually home in my office this evening.
Cool.
I gotta turn this thing down. Hold on.
It's all right.
There we go. Technology and me don't always get along.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, I'm home in my office this evening, which is kind of interesting because I'm sure that's part of what we're going to chat about this evening is that hybriding of old and new. So it's kind of applicable that I'm in my home office this evening.
That's cool. Very cool. Hey, I got to ask something. How did you become a manufacturer's rep?
Well, it's interesting. My sales journey started way back on the farm. Actually, I'm a farm boy at heart, if you will. I was born and raised on a little farm in mid-Michigan, about probably about 45 minutes north of Lansing, Michigan, which is the state capital, if you're familiar with the area a little bit. And farmed to my dad, and he had a building business, sold seed corn, sold metal, other things, a lot of things that I'm involved with today. And so I got started picking up screws and lumber and kind of being a gopher on a job site until I was 18. And then I decided to start selling. And so I sold for him for a number of years. And then I spent a brief, 6, 7, 8 years as a purchasing agent for a lumber chain. And I was in charge of a lot of the same products that I'm kind of involved with generically now. The good thing that did is it helped me underside that side of the desk. I just didn't want to be on that side of the desk.
Gotcha.
The road, the sales. And it's funny, then I think about our discussion tonight and the whole road warrior scenario, if you will. I remember when I first started, as a company guy, which, I worked for a individual manufacturer,
Sure.
and I had Michigan and Western Ohio.
Oh,
And
wow.
I thought that was a lot of territory, right? And when this manufacturer, this goes back a million years now, they asked me to take Eastern Ohio also.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, sure, I'll do that. And I remember my first trip into the far east part of Ohio, I felt like I was driving to the Atlantic Ocean. It just seemed like this is like, oh my God, a lot of driving. Now I covered that in just an afternoon. So, it's all mindset and just what you become used to, right? So, but that's how I got started, really. I started selling buildings on the farm, going, out to farms and selling somebody a machine shed or a tool shed, a shop building. That's kind of where it all started a long time ago.
Wow. So let me ask you something, because you're gonna laugh at this. My brother-in-law, we're getting some feedback here. I don't know what it is. Um,
Well, I sound pretty good to myself.
okay, I'm getting some sort of kick feedback. Yeah, I don't know if it's on my end. Anyway, do I sound okay to
You
you?
sound great to me.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, what I was going to talk to you about is, how did you, when you thought about doing this, did you want to start your own business, Randy? Like after you work for a company for a while, or what made you go this route?
I did. And in a lot of times in life, you get breaks, right? But you got to take advantage of them. And I had a good buddy of mine who's still good buddies today. And he reps some of the same products I do in other parts of the country. And I was the last company guy with this particular manufacturer that I'm no longer with, but this goes back a lot of years. And at the time, he goes, you need to go independent. And like a lot of guys, there's big benefits to being an independent rep.
Right.
The disadvantage is I had to give up the salary. I give up the company car, the company phone, the expense accounts, and you really literally eat what you kill, right?
Right.
You get paid really, really little, nothing if you don't sell anything, but you get paid a lot if you do sell stuff. So,
Right.
but there's a scary part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is I had two other manufacturers lined up by my friend, a mentor. He's a few years older than I. So when I finally made the move and asked this manufacturer to let me become a rep, I had other manufacturers to go sign on with like that same week. But most of them, everybody other than the original that I started with anywhere from zero to a few $1,000s is all they had in total sales. I'm pretty used to building business from zero. I didn't have the luxury, and that probably made me better overall, because I didn't have the luxury of this base amount of business, right? That I could, if I didn't sell anything this month, that's kind of okay. It wasn't okay. I needed to hustle.
Right.
And it just makes you better. Not that I would necessarily recommend that. It's a little tough on the gut at times, but at the end of the day, as I go backward, I wouldn't want it any other way. And of course, that's easy to say now that I'm here and not there, but still.
Were you nervous when you went into that?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. There's a confidence level if you're in sales that I always felt this was what I should be doing, and it's what I love, and it's just part of my life, and it's been forever. But yeah, that first day that you're heading out Monday morning, realizing that I'm pulling out my own credit card for dinner, for the hotel, to take a guy to lunch, and I don't have anything coming unless I sell something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little nerve wracking, but it sometimes you gotta, they talk about don't burn bridges, which I think is a logical stance in a lot of cases.
Right.
But there's also times where I think you got to burn the bridge so you got no place to go. And that's kind of where I was with that. There was no going backwards.
Right.
So if you have no bridge to go across, you got no choice but to get across the bridge, right? And so that's, again, do I recommend that? It's not for the faint of heart. But it's a great gig to be. I love, and the beauty of being an independent is my day-to-day dealings with my manufacturers is no different than if I was a company guy. I have all the same dealings with people. I have all the same amount of juice, if you will, to ask for things, to push for things, to get things done. The only difference is how I'm paid, and I get to represent numerous other people, in the same industry. So, and there's a lot of pluses to that, because as an independent, if you put together the right package of products, one, you have a lot of time and you have no time. Time is something I guard tremendously. But with that said, I can rep numerous manufacturers as long as they're the same customer base. I can't go calling on pharmacies, or something. That's probably a little silly, but you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If it's, but a lot of times it allows me to be more valuable to my customer because I have another product to bring them. And I'm a big believer in incrementalism. And you don't typically get full share of wallet with a customer overnight. And so you gotta get that first product in there. And by repping numerous product lines and numerous manufacturers, maybe fasteners, for example, they have zero interest right now in talking, but they have an interest in this product. Because I don't need everything today. I just need to get started. Once we get started, I like to think or hope that the Randy effect, if you will, will take over, and I'll wear them down at some point, and and love, and give them enough hugs and love that sooner or later I'll get another one and another one and another one, and pretty soon you have full share wallet, which is the goal, right?
So let me ask you this: what type of mindset do you have to run an organization like yours?
You've got to be probably the biggest is it cannot be a job. It can't be a career. It has to be part of your life. And your mindset is I never get up. Okay, that's not totally true. There's moments in days, right? But generally speaking, I don't care what day it is. I lose track of what day it is sometimes because it doesn't matter. Because you have to be engaged. And I guess that's the word I use more than anything. I use that a lot, and I talk to people doing these sort of things, or posts that I do, just talking to customers, talking to young guys that are involved in the sales world and want to be involved. Either you're in it or you're not. This is not a 9-to-5 job that you're automatically off on the weekends. This job has to be done until there's no more to do. That's not to say you don't find balance. And that's one of the things that I talk about sometimes is there is times you got to turn the switch off and go have a glass of wine with your wife, or go bounce your grandkid around for a while, or do whatever it is you do. But if your mindset is not engagement with people, love your customer, and you have to be, you just got to be all in. And if you're all in, and it's not I work a lot. I work 70 hours a week, a lot of weeks, but I work none, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean you don't have that half-hour period where you hate the world, because you do. You're right. There's that moment when everything's going wrong and something didn't happen, and I might have been known to. I know the exact spot outside of Lockport, New York, near Buffalo, where I had to pull off the side of the road, and I'm digging around in my back seat with my butt hanging out the door, 100 below zero, trying to find my cell phone under the seat because I'd thrown it behind me because I was so irritated driving down the road. So that happens. But the thing is, you got to dig the cell phone out, look at yourself in the mirror and laugh and say, boy, you're an idiot. and get back on the horse, right? So, but mindset, there's a little thing I use sometimes in post: live it, love it, own it. You got to live the life, you got to love the life, and you got to take ownership of the life. And if you do that, you can be very successful.
Which brings me to my next point. Seeing as how you were, what's the word I'm looking for? Seasoned, you've got some miles on you in
I
a good
look
sense.
good for 47, right?
Right. Outstanding. Has sales changed that much for you, Randy?
I'm sorry, what's that again?
Has sales changed much for you?
You know, that's interesting. Yes. Yes and no. The general concept of building relationships, because that's what I do. I follow a theory of, we all read all the Zig Ziglar stuff, right? And you know, you help enough other people get what they want, you can have everything you want. We know all the cliches and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. I think I went from being pretty decent at selling to, I think, pretty good now. When I stopped selling, I don't sell. I mean, really, I don't sell anybody ever. I really don't. That doesn't mean I'm afraid to ask for an order, because the difference is, if you touch all 4 points of the triangle, right? The triad: price, quality, service. And it really should be quality, service, price, because price really always should be the last one. But if you touch all those 3 triangles and you've interviewed the customer and you've decided that you've presented a solution, I'm not afraid to ask for the sale, because I truly believe, Mark, that I have what you need.
Sure.
And I'm the right guy. But to answer your question, how that's changed is, I'm really in that, and you said in the start of this, which was, I appreciate, is I'm really hybriding myself. And that's what I've been spending the last, well, I guess the start of COVID. March 17th is the day that I started I kind of coined it just for myself. I use it here and there, but the Randy 2.5 hybrid amazing. And I just use that for myself. I put it out there once in a while just because it gets somebody to say something or comment, and it gets a discussion going, right? But
sure, absolutely.
I was thinking about pre-COVID, if you will, and I hate even using those terms, but it is what it is. I needed to find a way to not be so much road warrior, because I love it. I can't wait to get out on the road. I enjoy being with my customers and having donuts and buying lunch and having an audience, and it's showtime, right? It's just fun. But if I'm on the road, I can see 5 guys, maybe 5 customers, maybe. Airline days, you're lucky to get 2 or 3. Or I can be sitting in my office and I can touch 40, 50 videos, virtual things that I've started to learn over the last, since COVID. So when COVID hit, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I made my way home, and that evening, on the 2 flights and some time in Atlanta, I kind of started making notes, because I knew something was going to change. I just didn't realize it would change for as long as it did. But I was already in my mindset that I needed to try to find a force multiplier. I needed to figure out how can Randy touch more people in a day? Because I have some existing manufacturers that I'm blessed to be with, that I've been with for 25, 30 years. So the last thing in the world I want to do is to ever not take care of business for them, right? Because they've been my lifeblood forever and will remain that way. But as I take on some new manufacturers within the realm of what I do, how do I give them the service that they deserve too, right? So I said, I've got to force multiply Randy somehow. And so I was in that kind of mindset, and I don't know if I'd have got there as quickly. So the silver lining for me, if there was any, was with this whole COVID lockdown thing, is it forced me to reevaluate. And I started out with watching some Gittimer stuff. I think that's where I met a bunch of my Megamind friends. And I started getting into this whole virtual video and tried to figure this all out. Took some courses, started learning and started practicing. And Mark, I found out that I can set in a week's time working from home, I can do 2 months worth of on the road stuff.
Right.
So, but all industries are different, or some are different. Some industries could probably do 90% virtual probably. My industry is kind of a old school, old boys club network a little bit. I have a lot of plain folk, which is code, if you will, for Amish and Mennonite customers. So a lot of my customers are down a little dirt road with the little 2 tracks, of the Amish buggies. And some of these people are massive friends of mine, tremendous business, but I'm not going to do virtual with them, right?
Absolutely.
So I need to still get out there and glad hand and eat pizza and yuck it up and tell stories and just be friends, right? So I don't have a percentage in mind, because a percentage would go against another thing that I don't do boxes. Some people think you got to think out of the box.
Right.
I just don't see boxes. So by saying I want to cut travel 50%, well, I've just designed a box. So I don't have any preconceived notions. Sometimes, as government agencies and the nature of this goofy thing we've been in allows, I might travel 60, 65% for a while. But then I also may go periods of 90% at home.
Gotcha.
But so really my goal, kind of going full circle, is really been trying to hybrid that combination of how do I stay in front of my customers. And the thing that I've really learned is, man, you can just touch them all day long. I do a lot of goofy stuff that I never thought I'd do in the past. Like I was telling somebody the other day, Mark, I bet you 70%, 60% of the text that I send in a day are video.
Right.
I don't type it out anymore. I get on and, I got a buddy in Montana, and we always bust each other's chops. I'll just, because I might just do nothing more than, hey, you ugly coon dog, what's up? Was thinking about you. Wanted to make sure how things are going. I appreciate you. Let me know if I can help. 10 seconds.
Right.
But I just had a touch, right? And it's better than just typing it out in a text, right? Because he can tell that I mean it. And I can be Randy in front of him, right? The Randy he's kind of known for years, but we don't see each other as much now. So anyways, that's how sales has changed for me. But the basic build relationship, maybe I'm too old school. Well, I'll find out someday. But if you don't engage with your customer and you don't build a relationship, especially if you're in program selling, see, I'm business to business and I build programs. I want repeat business. I'm not just selling. And my son, who's incredible in-home metal roofing guy, customer of mine, actually. One of the best in the country, massive closing rate, tremendous at what he does. And they'll have to repeat there because you might get another job from them someday. But that's
Right.
really, you sell the job tonight and you move on to the next customer. Tonight's sale for me is not as important as next year's sale, right? I want to keep doing it. I want to build the business. And the only way you do that, kind of going way back to what I said earlier, is you only do that if you engage. You learn their families, you go to their church out things, you go to their kids' graduations, you do the stuff you do, and you build friends. And not saying that guarantees anything, but it's a lot harder for them to fire you when they kind of like you.
Oh, absolutely. If something goes wrong, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It happens.
You might get to screw up 3 or 4 times before they finally get rid of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just pulling up some comments as you were talking. Zach says, Randy, being that you're an old school style industry, what's been your biggest challenge with the new normal and how you overcome it? So why don't you answer his question there?
Yeah. Hey, Zach. Zach actually is a good buddy of mine. I know Zach well. good kid. He's one of Milwaukee's best real estate dudes now. The kid's lighting it up there. So if you're in Milwaukee, get a hold of Zach. Anyway, it's, as I kind of back to what I mentioned earlier, Zach, it's how do you maintain that good customer relationship, the friendship, and letting them know that you care, you're here to help them when you can't be there. And that's why I am so convinced about virtual and video and just being more and that's why I'm trying to hybrid myself is when we get done with this tonight, I will probably send out 5 or 6 texts or emails, videos tonight yet. I can't do that if I'm on the road. You could call a guy, I suppose, but It's still not the same. So I think, Zach, the real answer is the basic concepts, I think, of selling are still the same. You just still build relationships with your customer. You let them know you love them. You let them know you care about them. You let them know you appreciate them. That's one of the biggest things. I love, and I never do it if I don't mean it, but I do mean it almost all the time. So people like to know you appreciate them. There's nothing wrong with just calling up and saying, hey, how's things? Everything good? How'd your son's ball game go last night? Great. Well, I had nothing else other than, hey, Mark, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for what you do. And if you do that stuff, I mean, that's all we want to know, right?
Right. Zach, I hope he answered your question. I thought you did a nice job. And with that, tell me some things. I always like to know this. Tell me some things where you failed.
Well,
and when I say that, I'm not being mean.
I know.
I guess it comes from, do you think, like in baseball, since I like it so much, you can fail your way to success? You go 1 for 3, that's a good night.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And it's interesting. And with your baseball background, I use that sometimes talking with folks, because think about it, in baseball, if you fail 70% of the time, you're a multimillionaire, right? Because your job as a hitter is to what? Hit. If I fail to hit 70% of the time, I'm probably heading to the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
So I think that luckily I've avoided massive failures, but we all have failures. You blew an opportunity. You thought you had this deal, and you just messed up. You just didn't get it. They went somewhere else. But I think, again, you talked about mindset earlier, and I love that, because one thing I like to remind myself, and I talked about this the other day with some folks, I like to have this little imaginary pile of wins, right? It can be anywhere, but you just got to throw some wins on every day. Throw some wins on the pile, because wins have this funny thing is they compound each other, right? Well, is a loss or a failure is only a loss or a failure if you truly didn't learn something from it. If you learn something from it, maybe it's, okay, I guess I really didn't listen to what this guy told me because I was too busy thinking about the next call I'm going to go to, or I thought this guy was a long-term customer and he'll never leave me. He'll just never leave me. Except for let's say I missed the signs that we were letting him down, or you got too busy for him. And those are things that happen with guys sometimes, right? So that's a failure, right? But it only becomes a failure if you don't convert it to a win, and you convert it by win by admitting what happened, making a note to yourself, don't do that again, you big dummy, right? All of a sudden you can throw that on the win pile. So I think the goal with failures, what you would call a failure, is, learn from it. Just don't do it again. I had a founder of one of my manufacturers that I've been with for a long time. And he always used to say that I don't have a problem with a mistake. If we make a mistake, I don't have a problem with a big mistake. What I have a problem with is that we don't figure out what we did and we keep doing it. Because a mistake or a failure is just an opportunity to figure out what happened, fix it so we don't keep doing it, right? Because it might be a way bigger failure down the road, if that makes sense.
No, that's perfect. And here's the thing, when people talk about sales and I ask you, how much has it changed? What's different? And now you have all these tools. So you have like hippo video, you have live streaming, you have ways to communicate through whether it's Zoom, Microsoft Teams. So do you think some people just rely on one platform over another, or do you feel there has to be a balance with that? I mean, when you look at somebody's proverbial sales tool belt, that should be part of the equipment, so to speak. But do you think some people rely too much on, some folks don't want to pick up the phone and engage that way, even though they send out hippo videos? I'm just asking you.
Oh, I think you're 100% right, Mark. I think your tool belt today probably needs to get bigger and broader and have more tools in it. There's a lot of tools available, but I think what you just hit on, hippo video. I happen to use BombBomb, but same idea. You can't just send that and still not follow the, if you want to call it the old school way of pick the phone up.
Yeah.
Did you get my video? What exactly? Right there. Did you get the video? What did you think? What did I? There's probably, I like to start. I'm sure there's probably at least two things that I didn't answer for you. What are those? I probably missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss? And because if you don't do that, then all these new things that we have at our discretion are no longer force multipliers. They're an excuse not to call somebody. And that's one thing that I hate about email, is that people get locked into, well, I sent them an email. Well, a little story about that, and this goes back a lot of years now to somebody that I'm not involved with anymore, but I still won't use names, but I still remember, I knew their office setup, right?
Right.
So I call in, got a big issue. And they said, well, that's Mary. We'll have to answer that. Okay, well, Mary's not in. Well, I said, I need to find out as quick as possible. So please find out and let me know. Hour 2 or 3 goes by, whatever it was. I call back in, the same girl answers. And I said, I need an answer on this. It's pretty important. And she says, well, I sent Mary an email. And I says, turn around. She's behind you. I know where she's at. She's the desk behind you. But see, her mindset was, once I sent the email, I'm done. No, you're not. You're not done until the customer problem solved, the sales made, the bills collected, whatever the goal is. So I think you need to really mesh, and the word I use, like I said, is hybrid. You need to mesh the two together.
Sure.
And if you don't, you're going to fail yourself.
Right.
And still and you held it up a minute ago, Mark, with all the, I'm a big virtual guy now. I love all the videos. I love to jump in front of the camera and hold up a product and talk about it and send it out to people. But every time I do that, if I send it to Mark, I'm going to put in my phone a follow-up time to call Mark.
Sure. Because
otherwise that was just, that was pretty much a waste of time in my mind if you don't do the follow-up. So it's really if you can use, and I talked to somebody the other day, we talked about it. I said, as an old school guy, it's a force multiplier, but it's also an augmentation. It's not instead of traveling. I'm not going to not, that's good English, right? I'm not going to not ever travel. I'll probably travel less. I may travel once in life.
Right.
But I'm going to touch more customers, and I'm going to use that to augment. I've got a guy I'm selling out in New York State. I did a post today with a new product that I just sold them to help me, to help them. The first time that I met them in person, we had done several videos back and forth. So we recognized each other. So it wasn't a cold call. It was a very warm call because we, quote, knew each other, because we'd already, not only did we talked on the phone, but we'd send each other videos back and forth. I mean, you can't get much better than that. So,
And which leads me to my next point. Don't you think, because this is one of the things we teach where I work, can I trust you? Can you help me? Do you care for me? You can have all these great tools, but if you're not emulating, trust, help, and care to people, don't you think that's important? I think sometimes for some people, they just think, I'll go online, click, boom, 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 there it is, I'm done.
yeah.
Or I'll make $1 million going online, pushing a product or a service, and voila.
No, yeah, you're right. It doesn't, if you don't build that confidence, that trust, the belief that you're going to take care of them. And that's one thing I like about video. We all know how many times we had texts where you're going, was he mad or not mad?
Yeah.
Right. There's no doubt if I call you right now, I kind of like you, right, Mark? You can tell.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
but so I think it leaves no doubt. I think when you can look each other in the eye, you can see each other's body language. You can read what they're thinking. I can tell if you're really listening to me or you don't care what I'm saying.
Right.
Right. So I think if you're sincere with your customer, they can also read, this guy's kind of the real deal and he sort of cares about me. And so and that's something you can't get any other way than some kind of face-to-face. And let's face it, face-to-face would be the best if we could do it all the time.
Sure.
It's costly. And with the current status of the world, but I think we're learning that we can also, again, I use that term a million times today, but we can force multiply our efforts. And the next best thing, is it 100% the same? No. I don't know what the number is. 75% is good. This is certainly better than if we were just doing audio, correct?
Sure.
How much better? I don't know what that number is, but it's definitely a lot better, right?
Well, I feel comfortable. Do you feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable, and you and I've chatted before, but I already in this half hour or so feel like I know you way better than I did before, right? Because I get to see your face, I get to see you smile, I get to see you. It's a whole different thing. So
sure. Which leads me to my next point. What do you think about a mastermind group, or what do you do? Are you a member of anything like that? Or?
I am, and I'm a member of the Megamind, which is a
Hey, Randy, how do you become a member of that?
It's a very big secret and involves riding a goat through Main Street.
I've asked Eric Bam that, and he said we're full. And I said, full of what?
Well,
what
we are
full of. Yeah,
but we have intentionally kept it pretty small. But to answer your question, I've always known what a mastermind group was, but never paid a lot of attention to it or thought it was anything I had time for or cared about. I love this group. I can't speak for all, but I think probably I would recommend that all people in all walks of life probably ought to get themselves involved with one, some shape or form, because I have become so much better in everything I do since being involved with this group, because it's such a diverse group of personalities, right? And such a good group, or a diverse group of talents, that I think if a mastermind group is put together correctly, that's what you need. There's nothing probably that any of us couldn't ask the group that we couldn't get some pretty darn good feedback on. And, it could be literally, hey, when I started doing videos, what do you think? Glasses on, glasses off. What do you think? Right? It could be as simple as stuff like that. I can't figure out how to make this microphone work. I got this issue with a customer. How would you? There's a lot of great things, but I think that the other thing that it does is it offers some accountability by some pretty high octane people, right?
Sure.
That because we all don't matter how good we are or think we are, we all need to be held accountable.
Yep.
And if I just say, Mark, I'm going to do this week. And if you ask me on Thursday, hey, Randy, by the way, did you get that done? And if I didn't get it done, it's like, no, then, you don't have to say another word.
Right.
It's almost like my dad used to be, which he was a mastermind of his own group, one, because if I'd mess up, I just wished he'd have smacked me side to head, because he'd never do that. He'd just say, I'm disappointed in you, Rand. Dad, just hit me, will you? Just hit me side to head. That'd be better, right? But That's all I needed to do, was be disappointed. I didn't want that. I didn't like that. And so in our group, you don't want to disappoint each other, because you feel like you're letting everybody down, because we celebrate each other's wins. And that's one of the other things. You celebrate, somebody has a big win. We all feel like we won, and you get excited about it. So yes, big believer in it. I think that at some point in time, it's convinced me that I might consider trying to start a little industry mastermind group among some of my customers that are non-competitors,
Right.
And because I just think there's just a lot to be learned from chatting and talking and the funny thing with virtual today, I think there's 2 people out of our 18 or whatever it is that's actually met in person. But I consider these people top of the list of best friends right now, because we do this 10 times a day. We whether it's on our group, whether it's on a messengers individually, we're just, I know these people better than I know a whole lot of people that I've known for 40 years.
Right.
So yes, to answer your question, I think they're awesome. And I think in today's world, where you find yourself probably less travel, well, not probably, and maybe less travel. Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess we're going to see that we're ways out of that being fully open again, probably. And that's not even going down the road of whether that's right or wrong, or makes sense or doesn't make sense, because we all have our opinions on that. It is what it is. And I think the after effects, if you will, of this is we're not going to travel as much for a while. And so as we are less out there, you need groups to connect and keep you connected. And that's what they do. And I couldn't be more blessed. Probably the best thing that's happened out of all this is that. So
I think we have a comment here. It's a lengthy one. I want to share it from Zach. Accountability is the first step to growth. Having a group holding you accountable is a great way to progress and grow. It amazes me how much we can learn from others outside of our industry and social circles. Definitely helps to put a new perspective on things.
Yeah,
I have to agree with that.
He's right on, because I think a mastermind group within your industry is good. But in my opinion only, I would always want to be in one that's out of my industry. Nobody in the Mega Minds has anything to do with what I do.
Right.
Not even close. And so I find that refreshing, and I learned so much, because let's face it, within the industry, you're all dealing with the same problems and the same stuff and the same attitudes, which can be good on certain things, but you're not going to get any new, fresh outlook. And these folks don't have those preconceived notions about my industry. So they're going to blast something out of the woods where I go, and I've had some times where I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's really, really, maybe that makes sense. And then as you think about it, you're going, holy crap, that did make sense. Why can't I massage that to fit my industry, right? And so, yeah, Zach is 100% right. Then that accountability is always huge. And I just get tired of being accountable only to my wife, because she holds me very accountable. You know what I'm saying, Mark?
Yes, sir. Yeah, after a few years of that, I totally understand. But with that, What does success mean to you, Randy? Like, just curious. What if you had, what's it mean to you? Some it means a lot of money, fame, to be the man or be the woman out there in the industry. What's it mean to you?
Well, that's interesting. I think most people would answer that early on is money. But I think obviously at the end of the day, that's why we think we are. That's why we all think we do what we do. And to a certain degree, it is. I mean, we all need to make a living, right? And we all want to make as good a living as we can
Sure.
and build a future and enjoy life and all that. But I think I kind of look at that, maybe if this makes any sense, and it may not, but like a professional athlete that's won a bunch of awards, but he's never won the ring, right? They're playing for the ring. They're playing because the love of you would hope. I know sometimes we don't see that much of it right now a little bit. I'm a little turned off by some of that, but are they playing for the love of the game? Right. And I think success, once you are making a living and life is okay, you're not worrying about whether you're going to eat tonight or not. I think if you're playing it strictly for the money, I'm not sure how happy you'll be, which I would say happy is probably ultimate success. Are you happy? Are you happy with life? Do you get up every day and sometimes go, unless your calendar tells you, and I'm a slave to my calendar like everybody is, but unless my calendar tells me it's Wednesday, do I think it's Wednesday and I go, shit, I got 2 more days of this stupid week? Or do I not even care what day it is because it's just one more day of doing what I love?
Absolutely.
That, I think, is success. And if you get up every day, which I'm blessed to be there, I just enjoy my customers and enjoy helping them and enjoy helping them be successful and seeing a young roll farmer getting started and finding out 10 years later how well they're doing. And to realize that, yes, I've made money helping them do that, but to see them have the success and to enjoy and feel like you've been a little part of that, right. That's what success is. I mean, money is fleeting, as they say. And I know that's more of a big deal if you don't have any. And believe me, I can remember days.
Just like good looks, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And luckily for men, we're like fine wine. We get better looking as we get older. So based on that, I can't wait till I'm 80.
I got to share this. This is Robert. He said the dagger of humor is about to speak. I just asked Dr. Jenny, the #1 naturopathic doctor in the country, if she was available for dating for the purpose of uplifting. Robert, I don't know where that's coming from, but man,
Robert has some stuff that makes you think at times.
Yes, he's a deep thinker. But with all that, I do have a question for you. And this is a serious one,
Okay.
and take time for it. Everybody has what I consider, since I like baseball, everybody teases me, a 3-2 moment in your life. It's full count. The bases are loaded. And there's a moment where some people call it the aha moment, but something that just says, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Enough's enough. This is going to get me where I want to be or where I have to be. Did you have a moment like that in your life?
Probably a couple over life, because as you so kindly alluded to earlier, I'm a bit seasoned. Thank you. I think that's a good word.
Oh, it's a darn good word.
You could have said old dude, but
No.
But so there's probably been a couple of those, but I'm gonna, because I'm a forward, and a lot of what we've talked about today, and we all talk about, and a lot of the other guests have talked about. I watch your show all the time, which I love, by the way. We're talking sort of today and moving forward.
Sure.
So I'm going to keep it more recent. And I touched on this earlier. March 17th was an aha day for me. That night that I walked into the Tulsa airport, or afternoon, right? And it was Armageddon, I thought. I thought the body snatchers came and they didn't want mine because there's like nobody left, right?
Right.
The airport's empty.
We lost Randy. Uh-oh.
We'll never. Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. The world's ending. We're never going to travel again. We're all going to die. I mean, oh my God, it's awful, right? And I'm getting on a plane, and I actually rented a rental car from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Fort Myers. So that's where I live most of the time is Naples. I'm in Michigan for the summer, so I fly in and out of Fort Myers a lot via Atlanta.
Right.
I'm thinking, what if I don't get home? What if these planes don't go? So I remember getting, that scared me. I didn't like that feeling at all. So I got a rental car from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Fort Myers where my car is. Figured I get in the air, I'll cancel that one. If I get into Atlanta and I actually get on, then I got one from Atlanta to Fort Myers. And I figured if I get on the plane in Atlanta and actually get in the air, I'll cancel that one. So I did get to Fort Myers. But as I mentioned earlier, I made pages of notes in my iPad. Airport, on the plane, airport, on the plane. And an aha moment struck me then and over probably about a week and a half's time that the world's changed. Don't know where I fit into this thing yet, but I remember looking at myself in the mirror, which I do a lot and usually laugh, but I said, okay, I like my life and I'm not going backwards.
Right.
So what the hell do I do about this? And that's when it clicked that I have done so many things that I'm not used to doing in the past 6 months. But it was an aha moment from the standpoint is you're going to have to, you used it so kindly. And I kind of like the term old school road warrior because that's what I've been. And I still enjoy it. I could go back and do it all the time, but I don't know that I'd want to now as much because I enjoy this new way of doing it. But I said, you're going to just have to learn this new technology and learn how to do this stuff. And I have a really interesting relationship with technology, which is I love to hate it and hate to love it. I want all the stuff. I just don't know how to plug none of it in and make it work. So, when we do these things, if I get on here, and if all of a sudden we,
do you know Henry?
I don't know what to do. I don't like that. I'm going to learn because I have to.
You don't like going live?
I love going live.
Okay.
I can do this every night.
Okay.
I mean, I'm come tomorrow night. I got nothing to do.
Okay, cool. What I was going to tell you is Mark Rodriguez, I have to give him credit. He said this is public speaking on steroids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But if anybody thinks they speak well and want to pontificate the finer points of verbiage in the King's English, get on here, look at the camera, and do some things. Just you looking at the camera, trying to teach something. It's different,
Yep. Exactly.
This is a lot easier for me to engage with you, because I can see you, you can see me.
Right on.
But when it's just you and that camera, that's it.
Yes, exactly. Right. Exactly. No, it's and I've become pretty comfortable with the whole virtual thing now. I just need to become comfortable now with the technology behind it. I saw him pop up there. I just wanted to do a shout out to Henry Paz. I see he just popped up a minute ago.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. He said, "Way to go, Mr. Chaffee."
Yes, Henry's a good dude, man. He's actually I can't remember his official title, VP of Sales and Marketing or whatever of my Stone Coated Roofing Company.
Oh wow!
So Henry,
I'm gonna give a shout out to Elaine there. He has a set of special skills. Whenever I think of the word skills, I think of him now. And Taken and all those skills.
Exactly. Yeah, Alan's good. He does good. I watched a little of his live a little earlier tonight. He does a great job.
I'll show you this one. Zach goes well put on the steroids.
Yep.
I'm just sharing some comments here because I want everybody. Robert, I used to say, if you can see your eyes, I can steal your soul. Not that I would. I am out of friendship. Okay, cool. And here's another one. Hey, there he is,
Hey,
Coach.
Coach Phil.
Coach Phil, don't take this the wrong way. I call you Coach first name and your last name is Phil. That's it. Because there is no last name for you. It's just Coach and Phil.
That's it.
And you need to check out what he does. He does a nice job.
He does a nice job. I was privileged to be on his show the other day. Phil's the real deal. You want to listen to Coach Phil.
Right. Wisdom, let us be attentive, right there on his program. Yeah, absolutely. And he says, yeah, Randy, you're the most popular again.
Jeez.
See, look at that.
Oh, Phil, the $50 is in the mail.
There you go. And I'll share this one. Michelle.
Another one
so
of our.
They must know one another, so I'm staying out of that.
Michelle, Phil, and I are buds.
Phil, it's true. I've watched your show a few times. I haven't always made comments, but you do an excellent job. And then we got Robert. The interview with Ken today was powerful. Outstanding. Coach Phil, you did a fine job on KW's program earlier.
Yep, he did.
Right. And then we have Larry. Great training. Thanks, guys. No, thank you, Larry, for being here. Actually, thank everybody for being here tonight. Feel free to share it out if you choose to. Randy, I'm about finished here. The one thing I am going to ask you here. So with everything we've talked about, we've been through the COVID thing. We're kind of still getting in and out of it or whatever. What's the next thing for you now? What's we always say, what's now, what's new, what's next? What's next for you, Randy?
Oh, there's so much left to do that I'm just going to keep building business, keep growing business. The challenge I always have is to not lose sight. I mentioned this earlier, of my existing core manufacturers, and then continue to build business with some of the new folks like Henry that was just on. We've got some great opportunities there, massive opportunities with that.
Right.
And so that's what keeps me juiced, is to get up every day, is to go find that new opportunities and go build new stuff. And I love building from the ground up. It's a blast. So a lot of my friends that are in the mega mines, for example, and a few others know that I'm pretty big into physical fitness. I mean, I don't look it probably, but I get a lot of exercise every day, and I try to, mainly because I like to, but more than anything is I just want to do this forever. I have no stop date. There's no exit date. There's no, I'm going to do this for 8 more years or this. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to be this 87-year-old guy.
We lost him again, guys. Come back to us, Randy.
Oops, I'm coming back.
Is going to keep doing and be awesome doing it. Cool. Well, while he's doing that, I didn't bleep him out, everyone. Hey, Alan, show your comment again. Here's a gentleman that has a set of skills.
There we go.
Hey, he's back. He's back. So maybe that's a telltale sign right there.
That might be.
What's next? But I do want to thank you, because our hour's about up here, for joining me this evening. I've learned a lot. I feel like I've gotten closer to you, Randy, as far as a human being. And to me, that's important. It's not just about the sale. And that's how I approach what I do. And I have fun with people, and they don't know how to take it initially, but they get over it, and they're like, no, this guy's real deal. And because if you're not having fun, why do it, right?
Exactly. And that's why I never want to stop, because it's just too damn much fun.
Right. And thanks to everybody again for joining us. Really good group of people here. Randy, I can't say enough. I really enjoy watching you on your, I call them the drive-bys when you're in the car
Yeah.
and you're, saying, hey, I'm at job site and all this and that. I think that's cool. And what's neat is you and myself are seasoned
Hmm.
and we're doing something we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
We're out here. I'm kidding when I say this, but we're on a live stream, and
Right.
that's for the younger generation, right? But
That's what somebody says, but I don't. Like I said,
yeah,
no boxes, Mark. No boxes.
absolutely. I mean, age is a number, man. That's it.
Yep.
That's the way I feel about it. It's just a number.
Exactly.
But really, everybody, I'm going to say thank you again to Randy for joining us. And as always on Mark's message, I'm just going to leave you with this. I'm not going to get crazy because it's not about me, it's about Randy. But always, let's be a leader, be a friend. Most important of all, be of service. And again, this was Mark's message. Peachtree Corners, the peachiest place on the planet. And I am so grateful I got to know Randy Chaffee this evening. And I'm sure we're going to hear more from Randy down the road. Randy, thank you so
Mark,
much.
thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Stay on. I'm going to end this broadcast now, everybody, and thank you for joining us.